The House Judiciary Committee has voted to send articles of impeachment against President Trump to the full House. The vote split along party lines. We'll talk to a Republican in a moment. But first to Congresswoman Karen Bass from California, a Democrat on the Judiciary Committee. She says she has rock-solid confidence House Democrats have enough votes to impeach the president, sending the case to the Senate. Congresswoman, let's start with a comment this morning from the top Republican on your committee, House Judiciary, Congressman Doug Collins. Take a look.
They wanted to impeach this president since the day he was elected, and Chairman Nadler has been doing nothing but conducting this investigation to this point this year. It's just a travesty to the American people, and it'll show up next November.
Congressman, wouldn't Democrats have more credibility if you had not been talking about impeaching this president even before he took office in 2017?
Well, I mean, I do think that there were a number of my colleagues that felt that way very strongly. And as a matter of fact, you know, when we won the House, I would say the #1 reason we won was because of health care. But there were a number of districts where impeachment was a very big issue. And I think some of my colleagues came in and that was important to them. But I think the process that we have gone through in the House and all of the other committees that have been involved in investigation and oversight has been conducted in a very important, open, methodical, thoughtful manner.
You said the other day that if President Trump escapes removal, and it seems likely he will in a Senate trial, and wins re-election in 2020, you could see impeaching him again in a second term. Really?
And let me just tell you, that would be the last thing that I would want to see happen. I was responding to a hypothetical, which was, impeachment is not like a criminal trial where there's double jeopardy. And so the last thing in the world I would want to see is for that to happen. But you know what, Chris? I really put my faith in the American people. And I just believe if McConnell follows through in the way in which he says he's going to follow through, which I think is completely inappropriate, that the American people will not reelect this president. So I take it on as my responsibility and all of my other colleagues. We have to get out and make sure that voters understand what we're doing, why we did it, and why we think this administration has been so terrible, and we need to make sure that he does not get reelected.
But let's understand, you don't have control. Obviously, the people have control over whether he's going to get reelected. When you talk, right, even in a hypothetical, about impeaching him again, would that be that you'd impeach him again for the same alleged crimes, or that something new might come up? And can you understand where some people may hear you even responding to a hypothetical, yes, and think this isn't about justice, this is about getting Donald Trump?
And that's an exact reason why you should never respond to hypotheticals. No, I do understand that. But let me just also explain that you know that we will complete the impeachment process this week in the House. You do know that the committees that have been investigating and providing oversight will continue to do their work. When we send the articles of impeachment over to the Senate, it is possible that we find out more information, especially court cases that are making their way through the courts. So what we would do in that instance, we would send that information over to the Senate for use in a trial. So that is what the oversight and the investigation is going to continue even after the Senate trial.
Congresswoman, I got less than a minute left, and I want to ask you, and I hope I'm not going to get political boilerplate. You'll give me an honest answer. Impeachment is one of the most consequential votes, yes, a member of Congress can take. And I know we've heard a lot, and I'm not saying that she's not being genuine about prayerful and solemn and somber and all of that from Nancy Pelosi. How did you feel when you voted this morning to send an article of impeachment to impeach the president to the House floor for only the 4th time in our history?
Chris, if you want to know how I honestly felt, I felt very sad. I felt sad, I felt scared, because I feel frightened for our nation and what we have been going through over the last 3 years. The other reason why I feel afraid is because I think sometimes he can be so erratic that you never know exactly what he's going to do. Is he going to make another decision like he made in Syria and pull the troops out and the Kurds are going to get slaughtered because he's mad at us? So I felt sad and I felt fearful. But I also have the confidence in the American people.
Congresswoman Karen Bass, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thanks for having me on.